Hello, guys, gals, non-binary pals, Overwatch fans of all ages, and welcome back to Day 3 of Bad Pachimari League Season 8, as we're in the second week of the playoffs with quite a banger of a match coming up. Freefall versus Yatagarasu. I'm Captain Jack, your play-by-play for the evening, joined once again by the amazing Biscuit. Biscuit, how we feeling tonight?
Feeling good. A little bit interested actually in seeing the matchup, right? Because just as we were talking the other day, we are in playoffs, so whoever loses has a lot more consequences than just oh yeah, we'll see each other next week. You know what I mean? If I'm not mistaken, actually, I've been told that these teams have not played each other before at all. So this is the first time facing off against themselves. Freefall and Yatagarasu winning their first round of the upper bracket, moving into upper semifinals, and then 2 more games after this, and you will be crowned the winner of BPL Season 8, at least in C League. So very interesting. Again, not eliminated just yet, and whoever loses will have to go against Pachisuba, which, as we saw yesterday, are looking very, very good. So I'm interested in the result. I am not too familiar with the teams, but here we can see the multi-stand with Freefall definitely being up there as one of the better teams. But Yatagarasu, not left behind at all, Jack. Like literally the same score, other than maybe losing a couple more maps. But I wouldn't even say that's like a bad thing, right?
Yeah, Yatagarasu, looking at their history, had a little bit more of the struggles, a couple more 2-1s than we saw from Freefall. But as we were talking about last night, we're in the playoffs now, so anything could happen tonight. Both of these teams are incredibly powerful, and talking with them prior to tonight's match, both of them are actually really interested in seeing how tonight will go. Let's go ahead and start the introduction. So coming in on Freefall, we've got Kegs, Sonic Ronic, Triggered, Jinxed, oh no, Donk, and Wana. Beautiful lineup coming in. As you can see, a lot of flexibility coming in from this team. I'm excited to see kind of how they are able to show that malleability that has really paid off for them in the regular season. What do we have from Yatagarasu?
I've seen a lot of familiar faces, I'm not gonna lie. There's like, just looking at Freefall, I can recognize a lot of them. We can see the Deadlock representation in Yatagarasu, by the way. Maloney, Buns Bronson, Sammy, Edgimom, Toxic, Slade, and Lysania. I am not gonna lie, this is like half people that I know, half people that I don't know. I'm familiar with Buns Bronson, Baloney, if I'm not mistaken, Toxic. But other than that, it's much like yesterday, right? I think I'm gonna be surprised by a couple of these people who I've never really seen, if I'm not gonna lie. Either way, Yatagarasu coming in strong, Freefall coming in strong, super head-to-head matchup. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw another game 5, I'm not gonna lie. But Jack, it seems like our band's already kind of locking in. We're slowly moving into the point where we're actually gonna be able to see the game.
Yeah, and it looks like our first map has already been chosen. We're heading to Lijiang Tower. Very common staple here in the C League, as we've seen the multiple matches we've done over the past couple of weeks. Lijiang gets a lot of love. There's also a lot of malleability between Control Center, very locked in, very kind of brawl centric. Whereas you go to like Night Market, where you can do the brawl, you could do the dive. There's kind of the space to do that, but you could also be very close quarters. And then, of course, the Gardens, which throws everything out the window. Lots of boops, lots of dive potential to be able to get into backlines and whatnot pretty easily. So this is really going to show up a lot for how flexible each of these teams are, and being some of the best teams in C League, I would imagine that we're going to see a lot of flexing tonight, especially as we are waiting for the bans to come in. Yatagarasu has chosen to ban first this evening, so it'll be interesting to see how they utilize that power to their advantage as we go on throughout the night. As we were seeing yesterday, sometimes the bans are just kind of frivolous, and sometimes they are very poignant. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and Lijiang Tower, not surprised that it's like the first map that we're going to. Honestly, it's like everyone loves the map. It offers a lot of variety, and most interesting is gonna be, for example, yesterday, right? We saw both teams kind of their decision making be more like we want to play the brawl, and maybe today we see something a little bit different, right? Maybe we see like, oh, there's gonna be like a test, right? Like, oh, we go into hybrid, we go to Money, and maybe dive happens, right? So we're gonna take a little bit of extra time. We've been told that Yatagarasu having a little bit of issues communicating with one of their players, their flex support, so might be a little bit longer before we go into. But Jack, if I'm not mistaken, I think you asked a couple of questions, right, to the players slash captains of the teams.
Yeah, I can pull those up here in a sec. I do want to take a look at stats that we have on the amazing Solomon.gg website. Looking at control records for both these teams, Yatagarasu, not a fan of Lijiang Tower, currently has an 0-2 record based on the regular season, whereas Freefall sitting at a 1-0. If you look across the board, though, Freefall does have the most wins in control, but other maps like Oasis and Busan really have worked out as well into Yatagarasu's favor. So, is it a fluke? Was it their warm-up round that, they had to kind of lock in after losing on Lijiang? Maybe. That was kind of some of the notes coming in from Yatagarasu's captain tonight, is that they before tonight, they hadn't been practicing as much as they probably really would want to, but they are prepared to see what this is. And as we kind of noted on a little bit, both of these teams haven't faced off against one another, nor do they have really a lot of practice against one another. So I think tonight is going to be a lot of soul searching. It's going to be seeing kind of how each team responds to one another. Obviously, they could go back and look at the VODs. Both teams, I think, have had a decent amount of streams between the both of them. But you never know how a team is going to play against your style unless you're up against them. So I'm excited to see how it shakes out. And looks like teams are ready and raring to go. Bans already coming in. And first ban on the table from Yatagarasu is Symmetra.
No, absolutely. We talked about it the other day, right? Any matchup that goes into like the brawl, mirror, or like rush, especially like Ramatra, Symmetra is almost always like even if she's not the most broken hero ever, Jack, like she doesn't need to be, right? Because she needs to be checked. If your team is not immediately like going on top of her, if the fight extends even a little bit longer than what it should, Jack, I think Symmetra is just the hero that is going to require you like to have a little bit of extra coordination, and it punishes a lot of your mistakes a lot more heavily because she just outputs damage like no one else in the game. So personally, I'm a big fan of just putting the Symmetra like in the what's it called, Ramatra mirror or the Reinhardt mirror, just the brawl mirror, honestly, at all, right? Personally, I think it's really good that we're just getting it out of the way, because if it shows up, a lot of teams don't play it, Jack. Like they just play like your normal Sojourn Tracer, Sojourn Xion. But I think Symmetra, just being in there makes it so your team has to be a little bit better, right? Because you have to be a little bit faster. You cannot let her live even a tiny second longer than what she should have, because otherwise she's putting more damage than like 100 energy Zarya, right? So with that being our first ban, we're gonna move to either a tank or a support being banned. Honestly, I think it might just be the Misuki. I'm a big fan of getting Misuki just getting out of the way very early. Or most interesting, like yesterday, right? We could force a very specific matchup if you ban something like Ramatra or if you ban Zarya, right?
Yep.
Either way, reminder, this is first to 3, so bans matter a lot more, I would say, right? Because there's gonna be more chances for them to show a character that you don't want to play against, and you might want to be a little bit more thoughtful about how you use it. But let's see what they go into. I'm expecting a tank ban, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Misuki's gone in this round.
Yeah, agreed. And, I think I love Yatagarasu's ban of Symmetra as well, especially on Lijiang Tower, just because of the speed potential that she has on this map. I mean, everyone knows the window TP in Night Market, but also just being able to TP directly onto point without using the bridge or the tunnel for gardens. It just provides so much stability in terms of being able to get people back and forth from spawn to the objective. So I love the early pick there. I kind of want to see if maybe we'll get the speed off the table. Speed is really good in control maps, so maybe to even the field, take like the Lucio or the Juno out of the fight. Again, not for certain based on what these teams have played before, and these teams really don't know from one another what they've seen other than in VODs. So I'm curious to know whether we're going to see the tanker support ban here. Note for production letting us know that Null is ringing for Yatagarasu tonight. So thank you, Null, for helping out. We appreciate you coming in and helping out with the team. And note, this isn't an elimination match tonight. Loser will actually go on to face our winner of last night's match, which is a Pachisuba. So we'll be seeing them in the coming weeks. So they've got a little bit more room to learn and grow, I would say, as we're kind of waiting. And there it is, the Ramatra band coming in from Freefall. So they're either wanting to force something very quick and divey, or maybe we see, maybe we just see two Maugas come out and farm each other for health.
Yeah, I'm not too surprised, honestly. I just like what we're saying, right? It's one of the more like obvious bans, like just to force a very specific matchup. Most interestingly, I feel like this might mean that they're going dive on second round, because without the Ramatra, really, unless you're really making like your intention, like we're always gonna play Ramatra from here on out after Lijiang, I feel like this puts a lot of possibilities on the table that I really don't know how they could affect each other. Either way, I'm probably expecting more dive today. And just like you were saying, a little bit scary because they're gonna have to play the winner of yesterday, and as we saw, very good matches and a very scary team in Pachisuba. So best of luck to the to both of these teams. But just as you were saying, there's a ringer coming in for Yatagarasu, so maybe it helps them, maybe it doesn't help them. Sometimes like just missing one of your main players can hurt you a lot. But no one in the league, they're not playing with someone random, so hopefully they're able to get over it.
Yeah. Looking in the chat, seeing what people are talking about. Angel of Pack saying, of course they used Onron for Edgy Mom. And I do have to note, I'm not for certain if this is the way that BPL typically does it compared to other tournaments I've been part of. But as I recall, it should just be their favorite hero, right? So that doesn't mean that it's the best character, the character that they're best at necessarily. It just means that they really like that hero. I mean, who doesn't like Onron? I mean, even seeing her in her cute rainy day skin now, which I gotta be honest, the fact that we gave the rainy day skin to Onron and not Wu Yang seems so messed up. The wildest thing that you give the water costume to the firebender instead of the waterbender to start things off. But I do enjoy seeing kind of what people's favorites are compared to what we actually see them play. As we know, especially as support, sometimes you get stuck in hero jail a lot of the time because it's just what's in the meta right now. That's obviously in tournaments like these, you want to win. So I'm excited to see if we do get to see the Onron come out. Maybe if we see like some Diva dive for the side of Freefall, we might be seeing Yatagarasu bring out that Onron, be able to fan the flames during those DMs for sure. Angel says she really loves Onron. She really does.
You know, I'm not expecting them. First of all, they like Onron, but it seems like they're locked in to be only a tank player. So don't be too excited. That would be too excited about them swapping onto the Onron. We could see 7 from Lithuania. So yeah, we don't know like what they're for sure gonna play. I'm expecting really just like the same mirror from yesterday, right? We're gonna have like some May and some Ramatra and just like some honest brawl here and there. But otherwise, I mean, Yeah, I'm expecting a lot of very typical things. With Jinx on the table though for Freefall, I do know them to play some goofy characters. So the Junkrat might actually happen. I think we talked about it a little bit yesterday in like the Zarya mirror. So maybe it happens, and
Maybe.
it will be interesting for sure. I think we also saw at the beginning of the season. I don't know how familiar you're with it, Jack, but I think people were pinging that Jinx won their first like ever BPL match this season. And it was massive. It was so funny. I remember the ping and like wow, like Jinx won. Let's go. They were my teammate for like Kitsune League, but hearing that they won was awesome. So hopefully we can repeat that success today.
All right, we're just waiting for one other player to get set up here. So I did ask our captain some questions ahead of time, as I did in the early days of my commentary to get to know folks. And first question I asked is, who do they consider the team MVP? Coming from Kegi, it's got to go to Sonic Ronek. He's got really good mechanics, good decision making, and ends up bailing us out of a lot of sticky situations. He doesn't hard carry the team like some MVP players would, but he's a very important member that does a lot that goes unnoticed. And then coming in from Bronson for Yatagarasu, MVP I would say is Edgy Mom. She's been like our anchor on tank, and in my opinion, she's the best tank in C League. So there you go, Sonic Ronek and Edgy Mom. That's who we're keeping an eye on for this first matchup in terms of MVP, based on the way that they're playing and the way that they're organizing various attacks and defenses. We definitely want to make sure to keep our eye on them. But lots of improvement from both of these teams throughout the season as well. So I'm excited to see if maybe somebody else tries to steal that MVP slot tonight by really stepping it up. It would be exciting to see.
Yeah, and honestly, when it comes to like discussing carries, I think it's not really that important that they're always getting all the kills. And before we keep going, shout out to our observers, shout out to our production. These beautiful shots that you're finding around the map are actually most of the time like hand made by them. So I gotta appreciate their work a lot. Yatagarasu hovering the hazard, and it seems like they're sticking on to it. The first little bit of dive that we've seen in C League since yesterday. Otherwise, Freefall.
That's true.
And a very traditional comp, right? We're just gonna sit there, poke you out, and the second that you come in, you're gonna get super punished by Sonic Chronic and Joe Lidon on the Orisa. Trigger getting extremely low, but does Edgymon really survive against the comp this beefy? Oh my god!
Well, it's coming from the DPS. They're getting those flanks, and then we see the Rock coming in, trying to sustain. Just barely. No, Joe Badonk has to get out of the fight, as we see Edgy Mom doing what they can to try to isolate out the Reaper. Going to be unsuccessful there. Killer Queen does get a pick, but that percentage climb going to start for Yatagarasu.
Really good engage from Yatagarasu. I love that they were putting up the pressure onto the sideline. The Diva coming in. Yeah, I really like this. Able to peel a lot of Edgy Moms engaged, and we're just already in.
As we see the Diva swap coming in for Joe Badonk. Slade able to get triggered immediately once again. Sonic Ronic now on that Reaper, trying to see if they can create some space, get Edgy Mom off that objective. Haven't seen the win come in. The Bola shot comes in, grabs two, and Edgy Mom able to clean up the damage. 35% and climbing for Yatagarasu.
If I gotta say something, is that I don't know how to feel about the Diva swap. Well, I understand it in a couple of like dive points. I feel like you might as well just stick to the Orisa, right? They're moving much faster than you, and the Diva is honestly just an answer to the question: can we defend the Edgy Mom's dive? But I feel like I don't know. I really don't know how to feel about the Diva. I feel like it might be better to just stick onto the Orisa, and Slade is just putting in so many bolts into Yatagarasu. You can't even.
Again, the third time that Triggered has been the first elimination in the round. Sonic Chronic soon to be followed up on, and as we pass the 75% or 70% mark, Yatagarasu just holding strong.
I don't want to declare victory before it's over, Jack, but you lost your beat during that fight as well. And honestly, the Yatagarasu completely outpacing. You look at this, you're not safe if Edgimon is around.
Kitsune Rush coming out, trying to create some space. Edgimon taken out, got a little bit overzealous. We see the shot coming in. Triggered is locked. Now, they were tired of being farmed all the beginning of this match, and it looks like finally Freefall has stopped the descent, stunned the bleeding, and locked down the objective.
Yeah, Freefall doing good on that one, and that is exactly what they're playing to do. Like Edgimon jumps in, Joe Bidonk flies back to whoever is getting dope, and then Sonic Chronic punishes him, right? It's kind of meant to be a blow up the tank game, but honestly, the pick happens so fast, I don't think it's like a consistent play. Either way, Yatagarasu, 3 ultimates ready, same goes for Freefall, and Freefall, no real way to defend themselves against the overclock and the blocks being like their one weakness. 23% and ticking. Edgimon a little bit too in, if you ask me.
There we go. See the Kiriko ult coming in. Overclock also coming out from Trigger, trying to create some space if possible. Watching out for Toxic. Has the ultimate online as well, and there it is. Single, double, triple, cleaning up the objective. The block.
Oh, wait.
Sonic able to find one, but gets trapped in the chains of Buns Bronson at the 46% mark. We're going to see Yatagarasu more than likely take this, just can't get around the corner to be able to touch there for Joe Bidonk. And the Gardens go to Yatagarasu.
If I had to say something, it's just, I really don't agree with having to swap your entire, like, tank comp. Like, D.Va, not a bad tank at all by herself, but I really think that you should just stay the Brawl, right? Brawl is a lot better and just, like, absorbing these engages and surviving. Like, they're just better at it, right? And I like this comp a lot more. You're switching onto the Kree, which famously terrible for like any character that likes to jump and move around. You have a little more HP, same goes for the Mei. This is what you should be doing. Like, you shouldn't be just swapping your tank and hoping that the rest works, right? You should just be sticking onto your comp, sticking onto your guns. I feel like this is a little bit better coming in from Freefall other than the Rhine, which I feel like it's very interesting. But Yatagarasu looking like they're just on a roll here. Like, their momentum is super on their side.
Yeah, I mean, and it's funny, right? Because you would think the ones that really have the speed would be Killer Queen with the Lucio, right? You would think you would be seeing a lot more mobility, a lot more speed from a Freefall, but Yatagarasu, even without the extra speed of Lucio or Juno, are just holding strong, able to get those angles very, very quickly based on their positioning. And right now, we're seeing Freefall initially having controlled that high ground, but not able to sustain. Double kill coming in from Toxic and Edgimon, and that's going to go ahead and lock things down. Freefall getting cleaned up right now as the point goes up for Yatagarasu.
Yeah, Trigger splits up to try and go check Buns Bronson on high ground, maybe get a kill by themselves. But the second that they split, it's like, hey, Yatagarasu recognizes it, Edgimon goes in, everyone is dead, right? Engages from Hazard are so explosive, they do so much damage in a tiny little bit, and you cannot even cross. That boulder is not going to kill anything. Yeah, but it's going to suck out so many resources from Freefall, right? I don't know if you can engage in this fight.
Well, I mean, they're all healed up and ready to go again. I think Suzu was the only thing that was used. Maybe Killer Queen utilized the amp, but I don't think so. Triggered again, though. Getting picked out at the beginning of every single fight is making this so difficult for them. Joe Bidonk really trying to flex the amount of heroes they can play, but just not finding consistency with any of them that is going to be enough. As we go ahead and see the pick still coming in, 60% and climbing for Yatagarasu. They are giving no quarter.
Yeah, I'm sorry to say it, but the second that Freefall splits, they're getting punished so quickly. I don't think they're ready. I really don't think they're ready for the dives, right? And now that you're on Sigma, I don't think it's even gonna be better. Edgimon might die here. Yeah, the ult is out, and this is your one chance to win the fight.
Let's see if they can make it happen. We see the take aims coming in. Doing a lot of explosive pitches. Once again, Triggered just is the target of the entire team of Yatagarasu. Takes them out. We see the Kenkai Sanctuary coming out, dueling Kitsune Rushes right now as they try to sustain Graphitic Flux up into the Blizzard. We do see the Suzu there, overtime ticking away, and once again, Freefall stems the bleeding, but can they hold?
We've seen this before, right? We saw this yesterday where like both teams spend a lot of ultimate. The only thing you have is Vola, which, not to say that it's a bad ult, but nothing as game-changing like the beat that is already on the table pre-fall, right? So this is the one chance that you have to try and win a couple of quick fights and keep momentum on your side before the big ults come back for Yatagarasu. Slade coming into the off angle, and if you're Freefall, you cannot be split here. Do not repeat the same mistake.
Beat comes in, perfect timing to be able to sustain. Deadeye coming out, looking for the shot, finds Edgy Mom, keeping everything all together as we see the attempted invest from Bugs Bronson gonna get taken out of that fight as well. 40% in climbing right now as Freefall are doing well at stemming the tide.
Yeah, if I think that Freefall is now looking a lot better, especially considering that ults are more even. But again, the whole name of the game is splitting. If you split again and you're Freefall, you get punished so harshly. And Slade, it's almost up to another Bola.
Another Bola
look
shot.
At that. Yeah, they're split again, and someone on the backline, Toxic, looking really good, fishing for a pick here, but it's Kiriko. It's gonna make it a lot harder.
I will say Toxic has been having a little bit of difficulty in terms of trying to hold space and keep things going. Sonic able to find Desania as we see the Bola shot coming in. I'm not even certain where they were going to. I think they were attempting to get Sonic jumping up for them, but unsuccessfully so. As we see beautiful Suzu and the teleport. Toxic. There's the momentum here. We're going to a map 3 as we see Freefall stabilize. And I don't think anybody is going to be able to touch in time as we see Control Center going to Freefall.
A lot better from Yatagarasu. Sorry, from Freefall. But I do want to highlight Yatagarasu was honestly dominating the entirety of the map up to one really bad loss, right? Looking at Freefall's comp, we know something for sure, and it is that they're really good at just sitting somewhere and making that their like territory. They've been punished before for not playing like that, which is what we were talking about. The second that you split, edgy moments on top of you, Slade puts a bolt into you, and then you're dead, right? So it's not that they're playing bad. It's just I feel like Yatagarasu really fought super desperately for that one win. And then you have nothing left for the rest of the game, right? You're moving into a Sigma comp, which is super good at poking you down, super good at taking damage and not really caring about it. So I feel like we really just need to be a little bit faster. And whenever we see some losses like that, kind of just take them on the chin, right? Moving in from coast, it seems like Yatagarasu is going to be the second ones to get here, and that is really bad.
Yeah, I would have loved to have seen them get the point first. But very good positioning, and the speed coming in from Killer Queen allowed them to go ahead and stabilize. And the initial pick on the Toxic, that's just going to hold it right there. I think they're going to attempt to try to get a pick, but with Buns Bronson down, nope, that's it. Points going to Freefall, and they're going to have to come back for the next one.
Now Freefall really needs to just play the honest Sigma game, right? We're gonna sit here, we're gonna guarantee that this point never flips. IG Mom having a super hard time getting out of here, but the Susu gonna be able to keep them up. And now moving into May, Kaz Sigma as something that I'm happy that I'm on this side of the game, because I don't know how you do this. Yeah,
Not really a way to dive into that, and with all the walls and whatnot, it's very difficult for Slade to really get some positioning to get that damage up. We see them about 25% away from being able to get that Bola shot online. But as the Deadeye comes out for Triggered, holding space here on the objective, keeping folks away, looking to try to get Edgy Mom. Can she get away? She is able to, thanks to the help of Desania. But that's 50% in climbing. What do you do?
Yeah, and the entire fight, like, how do we even make it in? You need to win one fight, but it seems impossible with Freefall. No more Kick on Swag. The beat is ready, though, and I don't know if you can beat the beat.
Yeah, that's true. Buns Bronson able to take Jericho out of the fight.
Oh, there's the beat.
As we see the pick from Sonic to take Slade down. We're tying up the series. For the moment, Triggered able to find Desania. And I think that's going to be the hold for now. 75% climbing, and there's just nothing that can be done. Beautiful utilization of the shield to block the downpour, and that's the cleanup of Edgy Mom, 85% and climbing. Yatagarasu, they're running for the hills. That's unfortunate. Probably a lot of practice from Yatagarasu based on their record on this map. But it looks like Lijiang Tower adds another L to the table. Slade able to find one, trying to go into the ultimate, but unsuccessfully so. As we see the Gravitic Flux doing everything they can to hold people on point. Sasania holding together. We do see now Edgy Mom swapping over to the Wrecking Ball, trying to sustain. We see the Tidal Blast comes in, takes down the Deadeye of Triggered, but that's about it. You gotta be able to touch and stunned and stunned and stunned is the Wrecking Ball. As we see Freefall stabilize, locking in Lijiang Tower and letting Yatagarasu know we know at least one weakness, and it was this map.
It's so, I mean, I might just have to chalk it up to the Lucio, right? Like, once Bronson is a Mizuki, which is not a bad pick at all, I do not even want to imply that. I think it works amazingly with the comp. But again, Jack, we were talking about how Freefall is playing a comp that is really good at just getting somewhere and holding it down. And that's exactly what we saw. They got there first, and now you're playing dive into a point that is super rewards you just sitting there and just never having to leave, and you cannot break that. The second that they were kind of able to, like, they get a very big pick on the Kiri, they have beat, and beat just kind of wins fights, right? Very unlucky. I think it's the Lucio, honestly, just being able to speed, getting to point first, made the entire difference. Yatagarasu looking really good during the first 4 rounds, but one critical mistake in second, and being a little bit slower on third, like, it's really crazy that you just two kind of small things ended up being their downfall, with Freefall going up 1-0. Sammy is back though, so maybe that marks the beginning of some change for Yatagarasu.
Yeah, we'll see if that changes things going into next map. But Freefall definitely putting themselves in a very good position, and probably gives us an idea of kind of how the rest of the series is going to go. I think the thing that kind of gets me more is that we saw on Control Tower that, you know, this stabilization, they were set up very well, and Yatagarasu was having a hard time with that. We didn't see any swaps from Yatagarasu going into Night Market. I really want to see a little bit more flexibility. You guys are the best of the best. You're at the top tier of the C tier. Y'all gotta have that flexibility. The stubbornness is not something that we can hold on to. Even if you've got your perks, even if you've got ultimates, sometimes the best thing that you can do is make that adjustment.
Yeah, and looking just at the map stats, it seems like both teams kind of tied up in what they like to play. I'm not expecting King's Row from Yatagarasu, just from what they showed us, right? Like, looking at that dive, wow, it was so oppressive in first round. And second, I feel like it comes down to Yatagarasu maybe playing a little bit too hard. Like, honestly, just take the loss. They invested 3 ults. Why are we investing 3 ults back when we're 99%, right? They need the win, and you can afford to take a loss and then go back. So honestly, other than that one mistake, Jack, I feel like Yatagarasu just looks so dominant throughout the first 2 maps. And moving into Nomani, it's probably gonna be the map that we pick. Maybe we get surprised with something else. Midtown, not the worst for these kind of comps, but I'm fully expecting the Nomani. Playing the dive, which I don't want to say that Freefall doesn't have it in them, but it seems like, oh my god, King's Row.
Wow, I didn't even get a note ahead of time that that's where we were going, but I am a little surprised, and I'm wondering if maybe Yatagarasu has different plan for how they want to deal with that, and obviously they were very upset with the Sigma play from that last round, so they're gonna get that ban out very quick. And I'm interested to see kind of what changes. What I would say, Freefall, probably the struggle that they had at the beginning would tell me that they might go the Freya in order to keep a little bit extra damage on that off the table. But let's be honest, there are so so many heroes that can do a heck of a ton of damage like Freya can. Freya's at the top of the meta, but she is not far and ahead the heavy damage dealer as compared to like half of the roster on the DPS line. So again, we could also see an adjustment in support as well. You know, Mizuki was doing a lot of good for Yatagarasu, taking them off the table. Could be good for them to even things up without having the Sigma tank available.
Yeah, honestly, when it comes to DPS, I'm expecting maybe like a Sojourn, Reaper, or Mayban. I don't think support was the biggest issue, right? I don't want to downplay any of Yatagarasu's support play, right? But I feel like in this kind of matchup where it's super tank heavy, the Freya, no, absolutely. Yatagarasu was just making it so hard to even cross right on Freya, and I think Slade had like 2 boulders per fight, basically. So,
I mean, it definitely was starting with the Bola and almost having another one at the start of the next fight. So
yeah, and that was a lot.
It was nasty. It was really nasty, the free play that we were seeing from them.
And you just gotta recognize it, right? It's like the Sigma. We recognize, hey, moving into like second point, how are we able to win into Sigma? We weren't able to. So these are super entirely like based on last round. What happened, and there is absolutely, you don't have to always ban like the super optimal thing. It's just whatever was giving you trouble, right? Want to know, Freefall, again, reminder, should they win, they will be going into upper finals, if I'm not mistaken, and then after that, with a big chance to just kind of skip straight into grand finals. Going into losers, you have a lot more games, and obviously the risk of getting knocked out rather early. So hoping the Yatagarasu has some adjustments. I am still so surprised that they didn't go to money. Like, after what they showed us on Lijiang, I think they were looking really good on the dive. I don't know why not just play it out. But either way, Intro is gonna be our map. And knowing that Ramatra and Symmetra are back on the table, is that it? Like, is Yatagarasu, knowing now that Symmetra's on the table, because I think I don't know. I really don't know why you would go Kingstra when you seem so good on dive. Either way, I'm expecting Ramatra for sure, and maybe some Symmetra, but not always guaranteed.
Yeah, I mean, I'm intrigued to see kind of how it all shakes out for sure. But for right now, we're heading into the match, and we're actually looking at a potential tank mirror here between Edgymon and Joe Badonk. So I'm excited to see how this works out. I would have anticipated that we saw the hazard dive again. I mean, it's not always ideal for King's Row, but if you can get those picks early, it definitely helps out. Sonic Ronic, though, locking in that sim versus Toxic's May. So we'll see how that works out. Slade opting for the Sojourn with the Freya off of the table. Still can do a heck of a ton of damage. And now with Joe Badonk, I guess in a similar fashion to the Sigma, not going to be able to have that shield all the time. Those railgun shots can be taken off some heads for sure.
Yeah, I'm not surprising Slade on the Sojourn. They seem really good. You're shooting things from afar and putting a lot of pressure onto your team. What's interesting is maybe it's a Symmetra matchup, right? Because the wall gives you a lot of like burst pressure. But with Sonic on with Symmetra, we're gonna see what we're talking about, right? Just any fight that goes longer might just be in Freefall's favor.
Yeah, we'll see. And I love the swap of the supports as well. Buns Bronson opting for the Lucio to give them some more speed as the attackers. Vice Jinx looking to slow them down on the Mizuki. As we see, first shot comes in, allows the Disruption Orb to take Triggered out of the fight. Has just been the bane of Yatagarasu to take a Triggered out of the fight first. But we see the chain takes Sammy out. Sonic able to follow up on Slade. And I think that's going to stop the fight for now. We're seeing some pullback here from Yatagarasu.
Most importantly, Toxic building a Blizzard rather quickly, and you really have no answer to it other than Jinx potentially being able to protect you with the Sanctuary, right? But the fight is just back here. Symmetra doing so much damage. Look, this is what we're talking about. Incredible amount of damage, and the Blizzard is out.
Beautiful TP there for Sonic. They were going for them. That's who they were looking for, was Sonic. And we see Triggered able to get the double kill, looking for the cleanup, but the TP out from Sammy is gonna keep them going. But they rolled the dice. But you don't roll the dice against the gambling man, Cassidy.
Very big flops from Yatagarasu, knowing the Pharah, I don't completely hate it, but again, you can and will get checked by trigger at the wall. Basically every ult for Freefall, right? And no real answers from Yatagarasu other than potentially Annihilation. The Deadeye comes out, you kite it perfectly, and the TP is so good!
Very good positioning there, utilizing the TP to get behind them. As we see, Nemesis forms out for either side. Annihilations are online. First Annihilation comes out.
Double Annihilation.
Double Annihilation, double Kitsune Rush. I believe Kenkai Sanctuary as well. Sammy getting a little out of position though, and the barrier helped save the day. A lot of ultimates invested here as we see already 2 ticks on the field for Yatagarasu, but it's not going to be enough. Keegs taking the kunai in their hands and putting them between eyes is going to stem the bleeding again.
Yeah, I think Freefall just took a really big loss where you invested your Annihilation. Sorry, not loss, like a very expensive win, right? Just moving into like Yatagarasu's barrage coming up, and look at that, so much pressure. The Vortex catches 3, Slade, 1 rocket to finish off Triggered, 1 punch to finish up Jinx, and this is gonna be the hold.
There it is. That's gonna be the cleanup there. Just barely. Edgy Mom is able to stay on top of it, and that's Objective Alpha finally captured, adding 2:30 back to the clock, and no hold there at the choke point for Freefall. They're coming from the long spot.
That's what I wanted to say, right? It's just you invested so much into that one fight that again you're just kind of relying on the fight going long and Sonic getting a really big tier 3 beam that just burns someone to death, right? And it's not gonna happen, not every time, especially when Yatagarasu is so good at just bringing bursts of aggression to the table with the Pharah, with the Reaper. Ult coming up, the payload is moving, and we see the Echo Swap just to check Slade.
Yeah, I mean, that might be a good position to be in, but remember, they do, or no, actually, they don't have a hit scan of their own, so Echo could be incredibly deadly to this composition. Joe Batong using the Vortex to pull everybody down quickly. Gotta watch out for Slade, though. That barrage is online and to be deadly. Again, another Annihilation. Immediately, the barrage comes out, finds 1. Gets taken out by Sonic. Sammy able to help Toxic clean up the fight. And that might be Objective Bravo. I don't know if they can get back in time.
Yeah, trading the Annihilation I think is very bad. You gotta recognize that they have Barrage, and you can literally see where Slade is going and predict where they're gonna come out of. And sadly, the Barrage still finds its target. You cannot contest. Geekmon Swag deciding just to TP out and play it safe. 3 minutes, still on the clock, Jack, so not the fastest of attacks that we've seen, but still very good. The Blossom is looking terrifying here.
Well, the Deadeye finds it first, able to get 2, looking for the 3rd. Sammy just barely able to TP away, as we see. I don't think Toxic ended up using it. Beautiful headshot there from Triggered, and that's going to go ahead and lock things down for now.
Yeah, Freefall looking very good on that fight. Making it so that Deadeye is the one thing that wins you the fight is super good because the ult is cheap, and honestly, you shouldn't expect it to ever do that, right? Yatagarasu does have the beat though, and I wouldn't hate it if they went very aggro. Sonic looking for an off angle here. Do we find the target? Not just yet, but the copy will keep him safe.
All right, we see the Kitsune Rush coming in, Duplicate also coming in, the Blossom.
Ooh.
Toxic. I was kind of hoping that we'd TP to them and there would be quite a few people still around them, but no. Everybody was gone. The Kitsune Rush was still going. They've got that extra speed, and if I know, Keeks probably also went with the extra speed Suzu too, which means that everybody was moving quick to get out of this. Annihilation comes out once again as we see everybody pushed out of the Kenkai Sanctuary, falling incredibly low though, able to get back into the Nemesis form. Finds 1, looking for the 2nd. Edgy out with the Annihilation. It's Joe Badonk, but Edgy is able to take them out of the fight. And we're heading into last fight territory here. 1.5 minutes remaining on the clock, and it's a 2v3, 3v3 right now on the point.
Ooh. opening up with a beautiful pick. Trigger this out of the picture. Joe Biden swapping over to the wall just to try and touch. I think they had enough time to come back from Ramacha, but it might not be enough. Sonic Chronic, another pick back of the Bunch Bronson, but again, the Kitsune. Oh my god!
I was seeing that setup from a mile away. Joe's like, please, Toxic, just get near that edge so we can get you. Jinx swapping over to the battle cat. Ends up finding a kill as well. 60 seconds remaining on the clock, but are we going to see some swaps back, or are we going to stick? Yep, Joe Badonk going to swap back over to the Ramakra, but Jinx going to stay on that cat.
Yeah, Jinx on the cat. It's gonna give them the fight win here, probably, right? There's nothing that you can really do about like high noon, but can declare. Yeah, you can see it coming from a mile away. There's the noon coming out, not just yet. It seems to be a little bit of a lack of coordination from Jinx and Triggered. Although we might be going up into the skies here. Yeah, the noon comes out, pick them up, rush them into the team, and Yatagarasu knows what's gonna happen. Can't run away from that one.
No, you cannot. And I think those initial few were maybe just some baits, trying to see if they could get them to pull out some abilities that would work in their favor. Edgy Mom kind of trapped here on the Mega. Thankfully, right now the objective is right outside point, right? So they're going to be able to contest relatively easily. So we see the duplicate coming in from Sonic on the Ramakra once again, trying to beat it up as much as they can, as we see the Blizzard and the Nemesis form getting taken out. Both tanks off of the fight. It's up to the rest of the team to be able to hold out. Sound barrier invested by Buns Bronson, as we see already the cat coming in. Can Buns get away? Yes, they can, and are able to grab the wall at the final moments, as we see now Edgymon swapping over to the Wrecking Ball as well, trying to see if they can get on the objective. Will be able to do so. Now it's ball v ball, as we are just looking to see who will boop who out of the way. Venture now on the field. Sonic taken out of the fight, and by the skin of their teeth, Yatagarasu able to dig the knife in the final moments and grab objective Charlie.
Heartbreaking, honestly, for the side of Freefall, because I feel like Jinx may be getting literally anyone else on the team comp that wasn't the Lucio would have resulted in a pick, which may have turned things around, but we don't have time to wonder about what may have happened. Yatagarasu does make it to the end, but something to note is that it's with 0 seconds, right? Like, literally, by the skin of their teeth, they're able to win that last fight. Thankfully, you don't lose to Sky Noon, but still, it was able to kind of make them falter a little bit, right? It's just so hard to win against a win con like that. Either way, 0 seconds. Let's check the comments that we're rolling out on. I'm not surprised. It's still gonna be lots of Ramacha, lots of trying to just keep the mirror going. Now, Slade, do they stick the Pharah? It seems like we're still thinking about it. Yeah, the Pharah Reaper with Wu Yang. Wow. No longer a mirror. Let me tell you just that. And
no,
I feel like Freefall can just swap around. The Trigger already hovering the Bastion, not even in response, by the way. Like, they're already just kind of thinking about what they could do. Jinx, hovering Bastion, Cat, always a very good comp by just taking you by surprise, right? But either way, it seems like we're just sticking a very traditional comp. Does Slade get value on the Pharah? That's the biggest question here, especially when Triggered is on Sojourn. Either way, 0 seconds for Yatagarasu, 4 minutes for Freefall. Are they able to cap with more time than them?
That will indeed be the question. The great thing about Slade on the Pharah is that it is going to be a lot of burst damage here on the choke that they're going to have to push through. As we see Sonic and Triggered already swapping over to the Echo Cassidy, as they're trying to utilize that to create some space. Edgy having to use the Nemesis form just to be able to pull back to the rest of the team, falling incredibly low. Nemesis form now utilized by Joe Badong, trying to push through the shielding if they can, looking for the pick, just cannot find it in time, as the Pharah Rockets are definitely doing some damage. First tick on the objective, looking for the utilization to be able to hold on to that second tick if at all possible. As long as Edgy stays on point, they will be doing well, but the pressure is pretty heavy right now coming in with Sonic and Triggered on this DPS duo. As we see the rotation there, Sonic looking to see if they can get Wu Yang here on the high ground. Triggered taken out of the fight, but the trade comes in, traded again, as we see now pulled off, able to get that second tick. Freefall in a very good position to retake this next fight.
honestly, just looking at how the fight is going, I kind of can't believe that Freefall wasn't able to win that going in, right? Their ults were coming up a lot faster. Jinx looking to just kind of enable trigger. No, the build is not ready. But putting them on high ground is good enough, right? It's so much pressure on the part of Yatagarasu, who's not able to go up there other than Slade.
See the Kitsune Rush being matched now with the Annihilation. Barrage comes out, gets nothing but shield there at the end. Beautiful trades though, as we see now the duplicate Sonic Ronic trying to do what they can to hold on. Kitsune Rush and Deadeye looking for the shield. Objective Alpha captured, a very nice 420 on the clock to get that payload moving for Freefall.
You know, shout out to Trigger for playing the mind game of going right side and then going left. that was really funny. It hurts a lot to lose your Annihilation like that, but again, you get rewarded, right? Freefall invested so many ultimates, and should they have lost that fight, Jack, I don't see them coming back, right? So 4 minutes and ticking. Jinx is gonna be sticking onto the payload just while letting the rest of Freefall get their angles, get their damage, and honestly, Toxic does have Blossom, and I think the combo here might just be bubbling them in and hopefully taking over this first point.
All right, well, we do see the bubble coming in, but it's not going to find the value it is looking for. 2 down. Is able to take Trigger out of the fight. Kiriko battle here in the library, not going to find the value it's looking for either. Sonic able to finish off Sammy in the final moments, and there it is. Sonic Ronic cleaning up the field, and Freefall is moving once again.
Really, really good. I like what they were able to do there, and the point keeps on moving. The only ultimate that you had is a catnap, and Edgymom swapping to the Diva. I really don't know how to feel about the Diva swap. I feel like you're just gonna get outbrawled. So much damage from the Echo, so much damage from the Ramacha that you cannot even DM. So I feel like this might just be trying to stay as alive as they can on point, taking high ground. Very good, but already checked by Sonic. Can you even live? Toxic coming back with Blossom. You cannot check this.
Let's see if they can find a position to be in. They've got to get this Blossom out before the next Kitsune Rush, that's for sure. Otherwise, they're going to find themselves in the same position they did last time. As we see high ground being held right now, we see the Fan the Hammer twice in rotation, gets Diva out of the mech, but the elimination's not there. Kiriko on the field. Sonic Ronic trying to hold it all together. The Blossom, perfect timing without the Kitsune Rush. There's nothing that they can do about it. Came in just too little, too late, as we see the Nemesis form trying to hold 16-0. As we see the Catnap comes out in the final moments and clears the point.
Wow, I mean, I really want to say that Joe Biden should have done that, but it's hard to say that when they won. It's so risky to invest Annihilation in a losing fight like that, especially when it's your win con. But Yatagarasu not able to sustain that long fight, especially now that you're on Diva, right? Your character is not really made for that. She's really good at bursts of aggression, but if there's someone that is really good at taking the long fight and making it unwinnable, it's gonna be the Ramacha comp. Triggered past noon, and Jack, I think we know what combo is gonna be coming up in just a couple of seconds.
I truly want to see them go under the map.
Nope, we're going up.
We're going right up and over.
Cash into Sky Miles.
Looking for the shots. Go.
Jump scare.
Time to go directly for Soj. It takes their life away, but it's not going to be enough for them to hold on. The rest of the team doing great to clear the field, as we see Edgymom swapping back to the Ramatra, trying to do what they can to sustain, but the Kitsune Rush is just too much for them to handle. They're under half health, and there's just nothing that they can do to keep things going. The beam of Sonic Ronic is just absolutely annihilating right now, as I see so much fractured. I'm not even sure what is actually happening right now.
A little bit messy. Sonic Chronic does go down. Toxic able to touch back on the Tracer. Trigger goes down. Joe Biden with another hero annihilation, which I feel like it shouldn't work. But how do you kill Joe Biden? I don't think you can. 2 people go down. No more Tracer. No more Sojourn. And honestly, at this point, Edgy Mom not able to survive the onslaught as well. So much damage, and at the hero annihilation finds it again with Freefall capping with 1:55 left on the clock.
Ooh, I don't know if everyone else saw the mushrooms trip that I just went on, but holy goodness.
No, I did as well.
It was really cool. Okay, everyone on screen did also see that, so now you know. Now
I
you
did
know
as
what
well.
we were dealing with.
But you're able to but you're able to tell, right?
Colors, though.
All I gotta say is I see the annihilation come out, and my first instinct is, oh, that's bad because you're losing. And then it's like, wow. I mean, how does Yatagarasu kill Joe Biden? You can't. He's just so fat. Like, you have a Diva, but Diva doesn't do that much damage to Ramatra, especially like while he's blocking or anything, right? And then the rest of your comp not able to do much about it. Gotta remind you, Freefall is gonna be playing into this overtime with 1 minute and 42 seconds. The worst that can happen is that they draw. So if you're Freefall, you're already cleared out of any worries in your mind. Either way, you want to win this so you can send Yatagarasu to being 1 loss away from being sent to losers bracket, and Yatagarasu already going for a very stable comp. We're gonna sit here and just hold it down with the pylon, with the Orisa, and Freefall. You have some time to mess around and experiment with Jinx on the cat in particular. I think Jack, it's all gonna come down to, does the Sky Noon get value? If it does, you lose instantly if you're Yatagarasu, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. And I'm interested to see if we do end up seeing a draw, because I tell you what, nothing makes a series better than a map 6. Let me tell you. So we'll see. Unfortunately, I'm not from the future today. I have no idea what happened. So we'll be playing it by ear and see how things go. But as you can see, Freefall is not afraid to utilize the Elderworth to their advantage. As we see,
what is Joe Biden up there?
Coming in from Jinx and Joe Biden, heading to the high ground, but abandoning the rest of your team so Toxic can take them out. Probably not the best idea. Triggered only at the 50% mark right now for the Deadeye. It's gonna be close.
Yeah, Sammy dies, which is not the best thing, but still they're able to come back a little bit faster than the rest of the cast thanks to that TP. And you can already see Freefall just rushing to get onto point 30 seconds, and this is probably going to be last fight check. No ults for anyone other than maybe Freefall, who's gonna have a copy a little bit faster than expected. Slade taking a couple of bot shots, moving into 22 seconds. I'm thinking this might be a draw.
Yeah, well, let's see how it shakes out. 15 seconds remaining on the clock. Toxic in the back line, able to get the kill on the Triggered with Buns Bronson helping out with the pylon out, a little less healing on the objective. Keys able to take Slade out of the fight. 4v4, take off the field. Keys carrying the map. That's what they gotta do overtime. Ticking away right now as they are trying to
not the blood! Oh my god!
Wolfsbomb able to take Sammy out of the fight, though. Gets rid of the duplicate. Jinx coming in, booping everyone off with the cat. And Freefall brings us 2-0 as we head into the half.
Hey, we gotta give a pay raise to Kikmon Swag. They won that point straight up. They just won it. Super sick play from Sonic though. Like, copying Tracer and then sticking for your kill is so cool. That's like some highlight reel stuff. That's what I gotta say. Really good. Freefall super deserves that one, Jack. And I mean, just going into that point, I think Yatagarasu, your mental's already kind of down because you realize that the worst that can happen to Freefall is that they draw. But really good on that retake, Jack. I was starting to see a little bit of a draw in my head moving into map 6 in the future, but 2-0, really good from Freefall for 2 teams that haven't really played against each other. I think you don't have a lot of info, and now you're kind of suffering from not knowing that, right? So
yeah,
Freefall 2-0. And before we answer the question, does Yatagarasu go down to losers bracket, we're gonna have to take a little break. So take 5, stretch, get some water, get some food, because BPL Season 8 is gonna be back to you in just a couple of minutes.
Welcome back, tanks, healers, and damage dealers. Sunday's matches are well underway as we are 2-0. Currently, Freefall versus Yatagarasu, as you can see already. Big dub coming in for Hidden King versus Blue Rose 3 Overwatch in that series. We got a couple other matches going on right now. Take a little peek-sees over at the community streams and see what's going on. As you can see, Siren Song versus Calderas is on King's Row, which we just finished. As you can see, Those Who Crow versus Hongsa also on King's Row. Everybody got a lot of King's Row love tonight. Demonize versus Eternal X, getting ready to play off in the lower round. Elimination match, super important for them to be keeping an eye on. But of course, you're here to see the conclusion of Freefall versus Yatagarasu. So I'm excited to see kind of how things shake out. Not for certain what happened to Biscuit. Biscuit fell kind of, I am wearing the Ghostbuster shirt today, so maybe a Ghosty snatched her and while she was on her way to the bathroom. So hopefully we'll find her and we get into the action. Biscuit! Oh, did the ghost get you?
My bad. Had a couple of cat-related incidents in the house.
Oh no!
You gotta
totally get that.
you gotta chase the cat around. But Runasapi, wait, we're going to Runasapi?
Yeah, we're going to Runasapi. We got bands in as well, ready and raring to go. As you can see, Freefall opting for the Shion. Yatagarasu really mad about that cat. Did not like that cat play during the previous match. They're gonna ban that jetpack cat right out of the match for our time here on Runasapi. Now, looking at the record, both teams have played Runasapi once. Freefall lost, Yatagarasu won, but it could turn the tide, right? Freefall has a pretty decent record on push overall. Just had that one faltering on Runasapi. So I'm interested to see kind of how things shake up in terms of what could be available. We are going to see Killer coming in for Jinx. So a little swap of players might be able to give them a little bit of extra rest. But I mean, as we saw right before you came in, Biscuit, we already had a 3 Overwatch tonight in one of our other matches. I mean, do you think that we see that here too, or do we see Yatagarasu take flight once again?
Honestly, I mean, going in, I appreciate the cat ban, because even one of the things with cat, right, is that even if cat is not getting like a pick with Noon, it still makes it like you have to play super differently, right? The entire time you're scared, and honestly, I say that it doesn't need to get a pick, but most often it will, right? Like, it's so hard to survive the cat noon. So I think it's good that Yatagarasu is getting out of the way. Shout out to producers, shout out to observers before we keep going. Nice little shots here. I like Runasapi. And just like we're talking about, right? It's just cat, super impressive, and I like that they get it out. But honestly, I think Freefall has a lot of momentum on their side, Jack. Like, in particular, having Yatagarasu going into last point of what they call King's Row, and knowing that the best that you can play for is a draw, I think it really affects your mental. No CP out, bad etiquette from my DPS. Freefall doing the same thing that they were doing at the end of Lijiang, which again, I kind of want to see Yatagarasu back on the hazard. I think they were super brilliant on it, Jack. Looking at those first two maps, I was expecting like a Yatagarasu 3-0, but Freefall now, 1 away from securing their spot in the upper bracket. Daisenia instantly forced out thanks to Triggered Cassidy right here. Some really good shots, and Edgymom finds the angle here.
Yeah, Edgymom in the back line gets the hammer, gets taken low, but is able to reposition into the low ground. Sammy, though, not able to TP out to be successful in that manner. And Joe Badunk and the rest of Freefall, they're holding strong. The bubble able to keep the head on Buns Bronson for now as they go ahead and pull back and regroup with the rest of the team. But that bot is pushing.
Yeah, very scary from Edgymom. They were going in and instantly gets flashbang, instantly gets the hammer fandom them, and nothing much you can do about it. The wall is gonna keep them locked here. And if you're Freefall, you need to kill. Yeah, I'm starting to. I don't. I think we're clipping Yatagarasu today because Freefall is putting them in Freefall with another stagger and another pick from Triggered. Jack, we're on checkpoint. I think it's over. I'm starting to think it's over.
I don't think it's over just yet. It's not over until they get past the finish line. So, Edgymom swapping over to the Ramatra. I think very strong pick. Ooh, unfortunate there for Sonic to essentially save Edgymom from Joe's Rock. But that is going to provide them the opportunity they need. Slade does have the ball online. There it comes. Able to find one. Looking for the follow-up. A little tinnitus there from Buns Bronson. Triple kill. Comes in from Slade. Able to regain control, and the bot is moving in Yatagarasu's favor.
Some signs of life for Yatagarasu. Thankfully, we won't have to see the quickest 3-0 ever with them touching point. No ults though, and Freefall is coming back with a Noon and with a Rush. Noon is not the biggest thing in the world, especially since Cat has been banned, but Killer Queen is for sure gonna be speeding them and making you sweat a little. The wall comes out, doesn't find anything. But it seems like Yatagarasu is just interested in getting out of here too.
Didn't get out fast enough. You can't escape the wild, wild west. As we see, the Rock comes in, taking Edgymom out of the protectiveness, but you just die. You just die and reset. You die and reset. You get so staggered like that, and it is just a horrible position to be in. Killer Queen did die during that interaction, but it's going to be back and have beat on hand as well.
Yeah, and I think it's just momentum is so on their side, and we keep talking about it on push, right? Because every time that you win, it's gonna have to go back the distance that you lost, and then it means another extra fight. Joe Bidong in the middle of nowhere here, especially with Edgymom already threatening to annihilate, and the flashbang is just so good.
Annihilation now unleashed as the sound barrier goes down, looking for the finishing blow, takes out Triggered and Kimon, but Sonic is able to find two in return, and that bot is still pushing in favor of Freefall as Edgymom just trying to find a way back to the team and is having a very big difficulty doing so. We might be seeing a stagger from Freefall here coming in as Joe Badonk ends up going down to Slade, but they were able to get another 15 meters on that bot. Great position there for Freefall.
Yeah, the target's gonna be fine as well, right? Because you have forward spawn, you're probably gonna meet them in the middle of the map. So Yatagarasu needs to win another fight to even start to get progress, right? And that's easier said than done. A couple of ults on their side, but this Blizzard is gonna make it a lot harder for Edgymom to get the impact that they had last fight. What a pulse run from Byzania though.
All right, as we see, Slade able to get the follow-up on the Killer Queen. It's 3v5. Sound barrier invested now from Buns Bronson, and the cleanup is quick and precise. I'm calling it right now. That's checkpoint for Yatagarasu.
Can't call it just yet. Killer Queen is on the Lucio, so they might be able to speed them back. And something that you gotta notice is at least Penta beat Jack. It's a little bit scary. You have no way to really keep Edgymom safe from the Blizzard. Yeah, the Blizzard comes out and it's only gonna get one. Never mind, the Rock helps him get out.
Slade able to get the pick on the rotation, but that's the objective captured, just not. The speed out of point was great, but Edgymom setting up on that high ground essentially kept them from being able to get there. Kunai to the dome on Desania, as we see Triggered looking to earn up that high noon once again. Seeing if they can utilize that to their advantage as they push them back. Doesn't look like they're gonna go ahead and pull it just yet. Not able. Edgymom just able to juke every single just keep Triggered trapped on the platform with the gravitic sucked down. Not a good and the Deadeye comes out. Beautiful Suzu. Beautiful return.
Wow.
A rage with that annihilation comes out, finding Killer Queen, finds Joe Badonk, takes out the gravitic blood. Triple kill. And in for the Edgymom.
Never mind. That is. Wow. Honestly, I think Yatagarasu is winning now. I mean, you invested so much, right? That's your Flux, that's your Deadeye, and what a Susu from Sammy. it's hard to state how much it did for them, because without Edgy Mom Annihilation there, you're not winning. You're straight up just not winning there, right? So very good, like beautiful Zuzu. There's no other way to call it. We got to give them a raise after that one. Rush and support ult are going to be ready from the side of Freefall, and they're immediately using it to try and get control back of bot.
Kitsune's traded here on either side, looking to use that to their advantage. Jobadonk trying to push up, but just does not have enough sustain with their shield. Oh, unfortunate. Beautiful shield usage, trapping the Bola ahead of the team, as we see the utilization there from Buns Bronson to try to push back in, help Edgy Mom now, but no. Triggered is locked in, and the bot is back in Freefall's control.
And a beautiful headshot to cap it off. They're not able to land that one. No more highlight reel. Dysenia's gonna go down though. 3 people down, 4 Triggered. With Dysenia down, they're not gonna be in this wave. And Freefall has a lot of ultimates coming up, in particular the Blizzard, which we keep talking about. No real answer for it, other than maybe speeding out, other than maybe finding a way to generate beat before it happens. We're back on checkpoint. Joe Bidong, though, a little bit too far forward.
Yeah, I'm not for certain where the rest of the team is right now, to be completely honest. I was a little surprised to see Joe kind of on their own. Like, all the picks came in, like there was nobody behind, but they must have been waiting for something or trying to send that up that Blizzard. We see the Deadeye come out, the speed comes in, and Edgy Mom bullied again as they try to separate out from the rest of the team, trying to do everything they can, but Joe Badonk goes ahead and finishes them off. Triggered is on lock with these shots, and the payload moving once again for Freefall.
Couple of rocky past fights, but Jack, I think Freefall is back in the driver's seat, hopefully trying to just get beat here. Buns Bronson just playing to get it, and I think they might just be in order. An aggro beat just might be in order, right? Just to try and get back to this point and fight it as hard as we can. Slade looking for a Bola.
Beautiful shot, grabs 2 with the help of Dasania. Edgy Mom grabbing the cleanup there. And there it is, triple kill. Another 10 meters, though, added to Freefall's distance. Yatagarasu gotta find a way to bring this back and keep that steady momentum.
Slade was just so good on Lijiang, right, when they were playing Freya, and they are showing it up again because that Bola is for a highlight again, I gotta say it. Beautiful shots, it wins the fight, and the best thing about it is that it's a cheap ult that you usually shouldn't rely on to win the fight. Triggered getting a little bit low.
There we go.
Found by Edgy Mom.
You know what? I'm not surprised by that. Triggered has been an absolute pain in the buns right now for that, but a lot of investment, though. Sound barrier invested, Blizzard now invested, Yatagarasu has control of the point once again. Gravitic Flux is ready, but no sound barrier to counteract it.
I think Freefall shouldn't have invested the beat at all. Honestly, I feel like we just take that loss, recognize that there's no way that we're winning it, and now Yatagarasu has a real shot at getting back and putting up a win on the board. 80 meters and taking Dysenia, looking for a little bit of spike here, but you're into Lucio, into May. Can you win? I don't think so.
Oh, beautiful shots coming in. Killer Queen and Triggered finding the hits needed. Not enough to hold. 20 seconds and climbing right now as the bot is moving back to mid. But honestly, why be moving the bot? I would just be getting off of it and being ready for a fight. They're bringing it closer and closer, allowing Yatagarasu to be able to touch.
But I think it's fine, right? Because in case you lose, you don't instantly lose your lead. So I think it's fine. Dysenia looking for a pick here onto Triggered. Triggered rolling around, trying to get out. Does it pull from fight target? No. Joe Bidong is down now, and I think Freefall just has to run away. You cannot afford to lose anyone here, or you're losing the game for sure. Triggered has that eye into a Bola. No other ults are going to be coming up. Which one gets more value? I do not know, but the entire game hinges on that question. Jack moving into it 20 meters until Yatagarasu can get their first win of the series.
Waiting for that Deadeye, looking for that opportunity. Find Slade, the Bola gets off, but I'm not for certain if it does enough to make a difference. Joe Badon swapping over to the Orisa, finds Sammy. Sonic Ronic with the Blizzard around. Keegs does go down, but it's just not enough Yatagarasu put everything they had into this fight, but they've learned a lot about their opponent now as we head and see the overtime tick away. Freefall heading to the upper finals here in C tier.
Wow, that is so painful, Jack. I don't know if I speak for everyone, and I hope I speak for everyone, because going into it, Yatagarasu looked so good. Like, that dive on Lijiang was so lethal, and again, it's just a bad, just one bad mistake, and they lose first map, and then second one bad mistake, they lose another, and it was so bad. Some moments of brilliance, like that fight with the Susu. Big shout outs to Sammy on the Kiriko, because it couldn't get picked up a couple of times, you know. It's hard to notice in like messy fights like that. But Susu, for example, they're saving Edgemom, giving them an entire fight win and a lot of meters on the bot. They Susu a lot of fluxes coming in from the side of Freefall. So yeah, I mean, really good fight that we saw. Honestly, the score says 3-0, Jack, but I think score sometimes doesn't tell the whole story. I think Yatagarasu and Freefall were more evenly matched than it may seem at like first glance. Other than that, though, really good performance from Freefall, super consistent, and they were definitely deserving of the win.
Oh, I completely agree with you. I think Freefall, as we kind of noted at the beginning, a lot more flexibility, it seems, based on the way that the team's play style is. I'm hoping that Yatagarasu now can kind of take that information and do with it what they need to be able to prepare for hopefully a future fight against them. But Freefall, even without knowing a lot about Yatagarasu, able to kind of balance their expectations, seeing a huge hero pool, especially from the amazing tank play on Freefall. But I'm looking in the chat as we decide who MVP is tonight, and I agree with you. I really think that we should be given the love to Triggered tonight. Swapping to that, Cassidy made such a difference after Lijiang Tower, and just being able to stick on that consistency was able to provide them so much opportunity.
Yeah, some obvious moments, right? Like last fight of Runasapi goes to Trigger, right? Just really well timed Deadeye. You find Slade. Slade doesn't get the value on the Vola, and then it's just Lysania cannot play the game anymore because you're on Cass. So the second that you're putting up, that you're flashing someone, it's over, right? They're dead. Trigger just consistent pressure, consistent shots being landed, and it's what DPS is all about, right? You're putting the pressure onto them, making sure that they're not able to walk in on you, and every Deadeye kind of felt like it got more than what it should have, right? Yeah. Not even because they were playing bad, but like you had Cat Cass. You have Trigger just doing it at really good moments. Finding, for example, we saw that one time they were dancing left and right with the tank and finding the pick at the end. Trigger, insanely consistent player, and one of the biggest factors as to why Freefall was able to dominate the set so quickly. But Jack, we saw a really good set today, and that does mean that Freefall is moving farther alongside the bracket. They're gonna stay up there. If you're a Yatagarasu fan, do not worry. We will see them face off against Pachimari. But for now, for this week, that's gonna be it for the development of our bracket. Freefall locking themselves into upper finals, one game away from securing their spot and securing themselves as at least a top 2 team in C-League.
Oh, absolutely. I'm really intrigued to see. I don't know if we have any stats on the other matches that have been going on thus far outside of here. Let's go ahead and take a look. We do have some updates. Siren Song in A League, 2-0 right now against Caladrius, as we see those who Crow versus Hongsa in B League, struggling a little bit, 0-2 against Hongsa right now. And Demonized versus Eternals starting off here in C League once again. Elimination round, so one of those teams going home tonight. Demonized starting off strong with the 1-2-0, but the one that I've got my eyes on is who's taking that second spot right now. So we're not certain what's going on just yet with Elvish Soul Knight and Chosen, but I'm intrigued. I really want to see if Freefall's kind of adjustment can be utilized on one of their upcoming opponents as well.
Yeah, and a lot of trios, so we were saying Nightwings, Elvish Soul Knife, Chosen, and Daniel playing later, just like we were talking about. The Monetize, the game is going on right now. So if you want to check that one out, they might be streaming it off stream, one of the players of either team. So definitely go check that out, give them some love. But Jack, I think we have nothing else to say. We went through some very interesting matches. Both yesterday and today, but I think it was very, very fun watching them, casting with you. Thank you, production, for the love, for all the work that we put in. But I think that's gonna be it for us today. BPL season 8 this week is over, but again, be sure to tune in next week when we find out who's gonna be eliminated. Will Yatagarasu be able to face off against Freefall in the grand finals? Will we see some upsets go on alongside the brackets, not only in C League but in B League and in A League? So lots of questions, and the only way to find out is by watching more. So BPL season 8, we're out for now, but we'll see you all next week. Take care.